Hi, I'm your hostess, Elin Hollis, for our show, Our Simsbury. The show is to basically inform our viewers of community activities in our Simsbury, including the Senior Center, town boards, commissions, and volunteer opportunities. Today we're honored to have with us artist-painter Mr. John Ellis. Hi, Mr. Ellis.
How do you do? Glad to be here.
We're happy to have you.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about your studies over the past few years. You've gone to the American University in Berlin, Germany.
Yeah, that's when I was with the Army Air Force in World War II. I was stationed in Berlin, Germany, and I was able to study over there. But then after the service, I went to Hartford Art School, where I earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts. And then I went down to Southern Connecticut, which it's now Southern, was in New Haven, earned a degree in art education. Then later earned a master's in education. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I was given 2 honorary degrees from the University of Hartford, one in painting and one in education. So I'm well degreed. Yeah.
So you live in the area, correct?
I live in Farmington. Yeah, we have a home and studio there.
And you have grown children?
Well, we raised 3 children, and I happen to be the visual artist. My wife's in music, and our children are, one's a pediatric nurse, one is a food program, and the other one's a computer technician. So.
And how many grandchildren do you have?
We have 5, and the genetic input of what has blessed me is one of my granddaughters, Sarah. She's quite good in the art world. Yeah. So
do you paint with your grandchildren and your children a lot? Do you spend time doing artwork with them at all?
No. They when they were little, they used to come in the studio. And one time Jessica came in, she says, "May I make a criticism, Grandpa?" She was about 5. She says, "You ought to do something with that sky, you know? That would improve your paintings, you know." But,
Thanks, Jessica.
That's Jessica, yeah. She's a sweetheart.
So you have displayed your artwork in over 30 galleries.
Yeah, I was one of the founders of the Gallery on the Green in Canton, and the Farmington Valley Art Center down in Avon Park North, back of the police station. And I've taught high school, elementary, high school, college, art leagues, privately.
My goodness.
37 years, a lot of teaching.
Have you ever won any awards for your artwork?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I've been very blessed that way. New Britain Museum's given me prizes, Gallery on the Green, and I exhibited different shows, and I get prizes. Got one from the Watercolor Society one time.
Yeah.
But
do you think that we could be so privileged as to see you do some drawing right here?
I missed that.
Could you do some artwork for us right now?
Oh yeah, I brought the show open, I think, with a shot of a painting. Now I'm only going to use that as a subject matter, like I'm there looking at it in reality, and then I'm going to do something with it in oil pastels.
Huh. All right, well, don't go away, but Mr. Ellis is going to be showing us how he does his pastels when we come back. Thank you.
Okay. This afternoon, or whenever we look at this, I'll be working from a painting that I did based on some drawings, which I did down in Rocky Neck State Park. And I do not paint on the spot. These are all my paintings are studio produced. And the colors are what I want them to be, not necessarily what was there. And all I'm going to do today is use oil pastels. These are not the chalky ones, but these are the same pigments embedded in an oil base, like oil. They're like oil paint. So I'll be doing that, and I might say that I feel as though that those of us who are what we call visually blessed, I'm very thankful to the great giver. God created this world that we live in and us, and with the ability to do things, and I try to say something about God's world, okay? So, here we go. I'm going to use these very lightly and create a lot of sky, okay? Alrighty. All right. few little cloudy fluffies in here. This is the oceany part, so to speak. This won't be as finished a piece as the oil painting, but just to show you how you can work on these things. Okay. Now, all right, I'll begin with the. Right. Right. Yeah. Somebody asked me if they'll always work for my drawings. I do if I have time to make the drawings, but if I don't, I do use a camera. However, so that I don't create a painting that looks like a photograph, I make drawings from the photograph, then I throw the photograph away, so that I'm not too influenced by the picture. And you have to be very careful about working from anybody else's photographs, because you can't do that. It's considered to be a form of plagiarism in a way. Okay. Right. The under part, I usually have my source of light up here somewhere. I don't put little suns in there. I stopped doing that when I was about 5 or 6, I guess. My people say when you teach art, do you teach art? And I said no. And they said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm trying to shape lives, teach people to see perhaps, but I don't teach art. The art comes from the individual, and let it go with that. So we got that much going here. Now comes the good part. Yeah, most of the shows I've had, I've shown regularly at the New Britain Museum of American Art. I've sold paintings out of there. I've been an officer in the Connecticut Academy of Fine Arts and the Connecticut Watercolor Society. And I taught West Hartford Art League and different art leagues around. I spent 6 years teaching elementary art in New Britain, and 31 years teaching full-time high school, Hartford Public High School. And and then all kinds of art leagues, like I said, West Hartford Art League and what have you. And then I had a studio. I helped to give birth to the Farmington Valley Art Center down on Route 44. And then I also was one of the founders of the Gallery on the Green in Canton, where I'm an honorary member of that. Member emeritus, I guess they call it, for some reason. I just consider myself very blessed. And I believe that people who have an ability in the visual arts or any of the art forms, they really are. They may not feel that way, obligated. That, and another thing that I'm a little different than some of my friends, because some of them say, as long as I get the money, I don't care what they do with the painting. But I don't feel that way. I like very much to know where my works are, but a lot of my paintings have been sold through galleries or agents or something, and I don't know where they are. But right now, I know I have paintings in England and New Zealand and South Africa, and all kinds of places. So some of my paintings are in the homes of some very famous people. I've never been there, but my paintings are. And if I know who has them, I always say I want to have the privilege of coming to see what you did with my babies, because I feel part of me is in everything that I've done, and it's not just, I just can't say goodbye. You know, it's like your own children. You like to know what's happened to them, what happened. Okay. Yeah, beginning to shape up a little bit. Oh boy. That's all right. Right. I've had some interesting experiences. I was showing down at Mystic at the outdoor shows one time, and I had my thing set up with a snow fence out in front of a bank. The next thing I know, I turned the lawn sprinklers on. so I started screaming and yelling, and the custodian was very apologetic. It didn't do any damage. But the worst experiences you have outdoor shows like that are with husbands who are on vacation with a few drinks in them, and they get very abusive, and they make fun of you and ask all kinds of things. And I had one woman get between me and her husband, so I didn't punch him. I wasn't about to do it anyway. Then I had a kid, he was eating an ice cream, and he went like that, and the ice cream went swoosh on there, so I just washed it off. It was all right. But outside that was that. Now I could work on this a lot longer, Right. We'll see what evolves, and you might take a look at the what I worked from, and then back to this. And like I say, it won't be similar paintings because I don't have the sophisticated colors and the pastels to do that. But this gives you an idea how you can work it. Okay.
Welcome back. Now that John's shown us a little bit of how he paints, let's talk about a little bit about where he's come from through his schooling, his awards.
Right.
Do you want to tell us about some of the awards you've won?
Yeah, right. Well, when you finish in art school, you're usually so heavily influenced by the men you studied with, and it takes a few years before your way of working becomes a personal thing. I had, when I was teaching at the West Hartford Art League, at the same time, on one weekend, I had some paintings on exhibit in the Britain Museum out on the grass. And I happened to look up, and what did I see? But something in short shorts standing there with the...
What's something?
With the rear end looking me in the face, you know. So she turned around, she said, "I'd like to study with you." I said, "Fine." So she showed up in my class, and we were at West Hartford Art League. We did about 2 or 3 times. And she says, "When are you going to teach me to paint the sand like you do?" I said, "When someone teaches me how I paint the sand like I do." And she says, "But you do it." I said, "Yeah, I do it, but no one taught me." And she never showed up again. Then I had another time where this woman, a widow with lots of money, wanted me to come to her home and with private lessons. And I said, "I don't do that." Because she may have been in her 80s, but I think she was a little on the make, and I didn't want to be involved in that.
Well then.
Then when I was at the art center, this lady kept coming in with furs and all that, and she never bought anything. And then one day she came up and stood right smack in front of me. She says, "Do you come with your paintings?" And I said, "Wow." So I said, "Tell you what to do. I'll go home and ask my wife, and if she says it's okay," she says, "Oh, you're one of those?" Never saw her again. So, you know, people are dealing with the public.
Yeah.
Then another time, these 2 guys came in, dungarees, the knees out, and they looked at paintings. They went somewhere else. They came in, and they said, "We want that one, that one, that one, that one." I was thinking, oh boy, how are they going to pay for it? So before I could say anything, he says, "Don't worry, we're not going to write a check." So he took out a roller. He started peeling off what he wanted. And I said, "May I ask you why you want all those paintings?" And he said, "Oh, me and my friend just got an apartment, and we want it to look nice." And I said, "Well, thank you very much." But, and then I've had people come to the door, describe a painting, which my wife will find in the racks, and they write a check, and I've never had a check bounce. Never. People,
You're lucky.
Yeah, well, I think people that purchase art,
Honest people.
well, they have a reason. You know, one I sold was on exhibit in the restaurant, and she came to the house to see some more, like the one that was in the restaurant.
What restaurant?
It was the Copper Kettle in Farmington.
Yeah.
Now it's now a hair salon. Well, anyway, so I was that. But so I think I made a statement that I really don't teach art. I really feel that I'm blessed with an ability to help shape lives. And I think those of us who are in education, whether we directly focus, you know, on that part or not.
You talked a little bit about God's creation in your original painting.
Right.
What do you feel about religion in terms of your artwork?
Well, I tell you, my paintings are varied in style, and just like nature fluctuates, the moods and instructions and rhythm, and I can't have just one reaction to that. So I must be a creative maker that God can use in order that I might celebrate His glory, His creation. And I'm still learning to see, so I seek the truth that biblically passes all understanding, and I shout joyously with my art for God's sake and for mine and mankind's. So And my paintings are not recreations of nature. They're not renderings. I rearrange things to make the kind of composition that I want. So, and then people say, "Why, are your children artists?" And I say, "No, no. My wife's a musician."
What kind of music?
She was a pianist. She's physically not able to do that anymore. And marvelous alto voice. But our children, the oldest is a pediatric nurse. And the next child, a girl, runs food program for Farmington High School, and my son's a computer technician. They have good hands. They're creative in their own way. And they said, "What if one of your children wanted to be an artist?" I said, "I'd have broke their arms." You know. But I have a granddaughter that's I have Sarah, that's quite good at that, and she's at Farmington High School.
How old is she?
She's 16, and doing very well.
Well, what other kinds of awards, what would you say was your most inspirational work ever to lead you into?
Well, I tell you, I do murals too.
Murals?
And I did one mural. I was commissioned by the city of New Britain to do a mural based on music for children. And I did it, and it was on canvas. And I was able to finish it. It hung in a school for a while. And then it got lost, and they found it again. But at this point in my life, I don't know where it is. It was stolen, and along with some other things from the same school. And we even put a big article in the New Britain Herald.
Is it a wall mural? How does one steal a mural?
About 15 by 10, this way, 15 wide.
That's a difficult thing to steal.
Yeah, well, they did. But they had the whole summer to do it.
It's a shame, yeah.
Well, that's what they did. And then another time I was showing in a gallery in Hartford, and they went out of business. But they paid me for the painting, but they never told me where the painting was. But then I was looking through some old notes I had and discovered that somebody in the United Technologies had bought the painting. So someday I got to do some research and just sort of go over and ask them, because I have photographs of it, where it could be. So that's that. And then there was another painting that was, so, I'm very concerned about it. But somebody said, well, gee, maybe that painting, somebody has that painting. But the most horrible thing that ever happened, a couple got married, they came to the house, they had a choice of one of 3 paintings. They chose one, they took it home, and I saw the man later. And I said, how's my painting? He said, we don't have it anymore. I said, oh? He said, no, we didn't have room for it, so we got rid of it. I said, oh. So I wrote a note to him and said, I hope you didn't throw all your wedding presents away, because that's what that was, So that was that.
Was there any artist in your life that really inspired you to become an artist?
Yeah, in terms of designing painting, the composition of a painting, Paul Cézanne would be the one. But for color, the Cubist, Georges Braque, he did a lot of still lifes, and his low-key colors. I don't use bright colors. Now, this won't show up in anything that anybody's going to see today, but I don't do this realism. I do abstracts. In fact, I used to do a lot of small ones, and I never signed them, never intended them to be seen. But I had a show about 3 years ago with Media and Company, which had 3 studios underneath where a restaurant is on Route 44. But anyway, there were 200 of them.
Wow. They
weren't framed, and so that was that. And they were small. Then I do big abstracts, but they're very well designed. I don't just, not like Jackson Pollock, dance around the edge and throw paint on. I don't do that. I try to be very structured. Years ago, just to get to know my wife, someone said, is your wife an artist? I said, yep. Anybody can live with me as an artist, because that's an art. And so I was at an opening in an Athenaeum, the Academy, and this man from Romania said, he says, You may be the church, he says, but your wife is the high priest. So, and that was true. She makes the family function.
Very interesting.
And we've been married 52 years.
Wow.
So we must have done something right.
Yeah, definitely. If there was one place that you could paint, where would it be that you haven't painted? One place you could go?
Well, you know, Andy Wyeth has never been any more than his subjects are only 30 miles from his house. He just,
Wow.
whatever's around me. I don't paint Chinese pagodas because I don't know anything about them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Very
that's about it. I hope people can see what I produced today, and if they ever want to see any more, come to the gallery on the green.
Thank you very much for joining us today on this episode of Our Simsbury.
My pleasure. Thank you, Hollis.
Please tune in.
Elin, I mean.
It's all right. Please tune in next time for another episode of Our Simsbury. This is Elin Hollis signing off. Thank you.